My name is Ernst. I am Deputy CEO of AfriForum. Mr. Chairperson, expropriation without compensation or below market value shows disrespect for property rights as a basic human right.
Why don't you change your stance to be more progressive and trying to assist a problem we need to fix in this country?
We are going to amend the Constitution in order to expropriate land without compensation.
And let me tell you, my brother, from another mother, we are going to take our land.
We want our land back. We want to expropriate without compensation. What will be your answer? Thank you.
Investment certainty leads to capital accumulation, which leads to more employment and higher productivity. An assault on private property leads to investment uncertainty and economic decline. If you argue that white people in Africa shouldn't receive equal treatment, but that the rights of black people in Europe should be protected, then you are nothing other than a racist hypocrite. The ANC-EFF alliance prefers a government bureaucracy through which it can exploit complicated processes to enrich itself at the expense of the people.
But my question is this that we have written here based on research?
Let's go for the amendment of the Constitution. This talk, Honorable Chair, is waste of time with such characters in South Africa.
Then you said they acquired empty land. That's the biggest hogwash I've ever had.
We've been listening to you insulting us, asking on us, calling us names, but you want us to take you seriously. That's sheer insanity.
We've been sitting with this process for months to find a restorative justice solution. And so please, I would plead with you to reconsider your approach.
Those who are calling for the erosion of property rights have not been able to provide any evidence on why a more aggressive implementation of an already failed policy would lead to anything other than a more aggressive failure. Christopher Hitchens said that whatever is asserted without evidence should be dismissed without evidence. Of all the people who have taken the effort to file land claims, 93% have indicated that they would rather have money than land. A recent poll by the Institute of Race Relations found that only 1% of people in South Africa believe that more land reform would improve their lives, and 0.6% regard land reform as South Africa's most serious unresolved problem. It is an ideology not based on historic accuracy, but a desperate attempt to ferment racial hatred and division with the true aim of advancing state power and hopeless socialism under the banner of corrective measures. But for the poorest South Africans who suffer under your policies daily and will suffer even more if you continue to destroy the economy and to sow hatred and division. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Let him continue to do so for record purposes and for people to know the true colors of AfriForum.
Mr. Roots, what is the solution? Is there a solution?
What we can do with our presentation is to try to expose what the ANC and the EFF are doing. There were serious injustices and they need to be dealt with. But we need to deal with them on a factual basis. My emotions regarding that should not determine what my argument should be. The facts should determine what my argument should be. Firstly, AfriForum did not say that the entire South Africa was empty land. We didn't say that. We said there were 3 ways in which land was acquired. You still need to surpass the geological and biological fact that it isn't possible to survive on more than 30% of South Africa's surface if you do not have the technology to dig a borehole. That is a geological fact. Firstly, the first thing that needs to be done is there should be a proper protection of property rights in South Africa. Secondly, people should have the opportunity to work for themselves, to work themselves out of poverty, and not be given freebies out of poverty, because that isn't sustainable. Next, we need to fix the education system, particularly for black schools in South Africa, because all the available evidence indicates to us that black schools are the most dysfunctional schools in South Africa, which has a major consequence on prospects of economic prosperity. The next point, economic and labor policy that is not founded on the pursuit of actual economic freedom. Economic freedom is the freedom to produce, not the freedom to receive stuff for free. Next, we must close unnecessary government departments that only serve to waste taxpayers' money. We need to seriously cut down on the Department of Land Reform, which will leave less room for corruption and theft of money by ANC cadres, so that the money can be used for what it needs to be used, which is restitution, which needs to happen. The next point is that title deeds must be given to millions of poor South Africans who live on state-owned land and who are complaining about the quality of that land. And lastly, Mr. Chairperson, we need to free our minds from this notion of equality of outcome and of cultural relativism. The idea that if a particular occupation doesn't comply with the racial breakdown of national demographics, then there could only have been some form of oppression. We need to stop prescribing to people how they should think. We need to stop being angry about the fact that 93% of people who file land claims say that they would rather want money than land. We need to stop being angry about the fact that black people are urbanizing at a higher rate than any other race group. We need to stop being angry about the fact that certain people tend to want to be farmers and certain people tend not to want to be farmers. Once we deal with these issues, Mr. Chair, I'm concluding, then we will be able to move forward. I note the lady from the ANC is clutching her ears because she doesn't want to listen to a solution that is not in line with what her party is saying.
No, it's all right, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
We want to thank you for coming and making your oral presentation on this process. Thank you very much. I think I would like to close the session here and thank you. Mr. Roots, who have next member. Rumkweli.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Fultana. Honorable Kuranov.